Hey guys, what's up? It's Solo, and today we're going to be talking about what is too casual. Now, a lot of YouTubers have probably done this at this point, but I'm going to give my little stupid personal opinion because why not? I don't know. I'm bored. And I seem to see more and more people talking about casual and Destiny and everything else. So let's talk about it. So, what I think is too casual is probably when we start getting to the point where people don't even want to do basic challenges. For example, the champions from last week. That was an example of what I felt like was making the game a bit too casual. Now, I'm not going to expect everybody to do 50 champions, but also people who are doing the seasonal story have to realize this season still has 2 months left. Almost, yeah, about two and a half months left. 2.5 months left. It doesn't end till like December. And so it's interesting to see people go in and be like, well, now that, we're getting to the end of the story, and then they go into, like, for example, I saw a PvP guy, a PvP YouTuber, talk about this triumph right here. Well, I do feel like this triumph is a little bit rough because of the RNG, and also trying to LFG for this triumph can be a pain for people. I don't feel like it's the worst one, because I've had some other ones that were pretty just nightmare inducing, like for example, where is it? I saw it earlier. This one, binding 50 nightmares in tier 3s, where when you spawn into it, unless you have a dedicated team, you're always going to be spawned in either at tier 1 or 2 back then. Another big thing was the fact that there's just a bunch of like different achievements that it feels like it's not even the end of the season. A lot of the seasonal title stuff is supposed to be done throughout the season. And the reason why that is so then casual people do have the chance to get the seasonal seal. So people pushing it for the like seasonal seal and stuff to be like lowered in requirement, especially if there are people who sit there and grind like PvP and stuff like that. Oh no, it just kind of rubs me the wrong way that we're getting this from, people who would be considered hardcore players now coming out of the woodwork saying, oh, well, this is too hard, yet magically enough, most of them would probably do something 5 times harder just to get a PvP weapon. It's kind of hypocritical, But I'm definitely going to say one thing. I do want there to be more balance when it comes to casual versus hardcore in the game. Because it definitely does feel like it's leaning more towards casual at this point. But that's to be expected with a game that wants to draw in players. But the thing is Bungie needs to be adding also to the end game and the casual part of the game. So then both sides can be happy, because to keep a game, in a happy balance, you need to have both sides happy, where, the end game people are happy doing whatever, and then the casual people are just happy playing the game in general, so on and so forth. But I think one of the funniest things about all of this is, could you consider Destiny casual at this point? Yes. But I would never want it to go back to the point that it was in Destiny 1, where if you're missing a certain thing, you can't do endgame stuff. For example, in Destiny 1, there was a point in time where if you didn't have Gjallarhorn, mind you, it's a meme now, but if you didn't have Gjallarhorn, you couldn't do raids, because that was the only way people do raids, and that spawned like the divinity thing and all that. But you're required to have divinity for raid encounters, and anyone who says you're required to have div obviously doesn't know how to do the encounter without divinity. But regardless, it comes to a point where there are certain achievements I do believe that should be obtainable to people who are actually grinding the game, but not to everybody. Because that gives people who actually grind the game something to actually strive for. But then you get into the conversation of, oh, well, what if someone who has a job wants to get it? But that's the thing, is it's not centered around the person who, you know, has a job. It's centered around the people who are, you know, sitting there speed running and stuff like that. And there is extremes on both sides. For example, there are what I like to call super cash people who I don't think should be tailored towards, where they play idle games all the time and expect Destiny to follow the same logic as an idle game, where them doing nothing rewards them. You know, that should never be a thing that Bungie should follow, because I feel like you should at least have a right to earn something rather than it being just given to you. That's why some people were upset when Taipan was just given out to people. You know, but it is what it is. But I definitely think everybody having a discussion of things being too casual when it's only, you know, like a month or so into the season is kind of ridiculous. I think people are just, I don't know, at this point I feel like there are a lot of people who are in the YouTube like scene that are grabbing at straws at this point. Like, I remember seeing a YouTuber trying to describe Expeditions, which I personally like, as a glorified public event again, and I'm just like, okay. And then they proceed to list like 5 different public events and things that make up the expedition. I'm like, so what you're telling me is that it is a new way of playing content, but since you don't like it, you're gonna act like it's a rehash of a public event. Like, you can't tell me, oh, it's a rehash of a public event, but then be like, oh, it's this public event, but it's this, and this added on. And it's like, bruh, that's a completely different thing then. Like, I'm sorry, if it's like one thing with another one thing added, I would understand why you'd be upset. But if it's like 5 different things added to, say, the public event on the, like, say, Cosmodrome or something like that, that's no longer that public event. That is now something else. Like, and that's the thing, is I definitely feel like there are some YouTubers who are giving out helpful stuff, like people talking about Destiny 2 Armor Picker, which I completely forgot about, which helped me get this double 100 stat build, you know, which is really great. But also, you know, there are a lot of people now just kind of grabbing at straws, trying to, I guess, increase viewership based on disliking anything in the season. And I've definitely had some criticisms of this season so far, and I get some people's criticisms, like, for example, the red border thing. Although, yeah, I do consider myself to be like really, really lucky when it comes to red borders, especially after getting not only, you know, Touch of Malice on my first King's Fall run, but also being able to craft Doom on my first run. But I can definitely see the whole seasonal red border thing being an issue. But again, it comes back to that fact that weapon crafting is supposed to be a endgame thing because of the fact of what roles can come out of weapon crafting. Because since we don't have pinnacles anymore, you know, weapon crafting is kind of your end game, get the best version of this gun by crafting it type thing. And that's why it's not super, super easy to get these patterns, is because, well, there's a lot of meta guns that come out of those patterns. And I don't know, it's just, it's something completely, I guess, interesting to see how people are interacting with this season. You know, and another complaint of the season, I gotta say, is definitely the pirate layers kind of do feel like they are repeating sometimes. Like, for example, last week it felt like it was repeating, where we went to that Mars Lost Sector one again. But who knows? I know Bungie's working on a lot of stuff, and I feel like we're about to get like just bombarded with, stuff. But I don't know. I feel like there are definitely a lot of people grasping for straws at this point, especially within the YouTube community. That's why I always try to make dumb theory videos that make no sense, or like talk about something people don't talk about, and theorize, maybe this can happen, maybe that can happen. But at the end of the day, it's just me trying not to become one of those people who's like, oh, I'm going to grab at some straws and say that this is this, 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 and this. And I do give genuine criticisms, like the fact that the, core playlists that the game is supposed to be kind of more built around are kind of the most neglected part of the game at this point. Where story has taken front row seat, strikes and stuff like that feel like they're hurting the most. And while who you talk to depends on which playlist, they feel like is more important, I feel like all three of them need to be updated. But who knows? It's just me, my dumb personal opinion. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for the video. If you guys did enjoy, hit the like button, comment down below. What is your opinion on all of this? I think a lot of people are grabbing for things nowadays. But who knows? Anyway, guys, don't forget to subscribe, turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.